I have so much to say about Mario Kart World. It looks phenomenal. And have you noticed something? There has been something going around lately, and that is hope. That is happiness. That is joy that has been going around revolving the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart World lately. For whatever reason, somehow, some way, in just a month's time, a month and a half, we have somehow gotten away from all this hate. Gotten away from all of the scrutiny and the overpriced comments and just everyone saying that this thing is going to be a failure and that it's greedy and that it's overpriced. I'm not saying that these things aren't bad, and I do wish that Mario Kart World was $70 and that all these games were just $70, and I'm sure you can make an argument as to why they should still be $60, but I truly do think this game and Nintendo is going to be just fine moving forward. I think there's something good about how all of this price stuff has been kind of forgotten, kind of not talked about anymore because people were so angry and it was just kind of ridiculous in my opinion. And I got swept up in it for a little bit, but then I realized if you don't want this, then just don't buy it. What's the point in just going out of your way to say this is horrible? And I don't know. Nintendo was never going to drop the price, so I don't know what to say about that. But Mario Kart World specifically, they did a bad job showing us exactly why this game is worth $80 because I think it actually is, and yet they just didn't show us everything that they needed to do, especially considering how horrible the Mario Kart World Direct was. I mean, it truly didn't show a single new thing at all, and we found out so many things over the actual days and weeks after that Direct that they decided not to put in it. And so I am here today to show you every single thing that Mario Kart World has that you might have missed and talk about my opinions on it as we approach the Switch 2's launch date very rapidly. June 5th is just 2 weeks away. So starting off Mario Kart World, something I am going to compare this game to a lot is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Why, you might ask? Well, that's the most recent, best-selling game in the series, and quite frankly, the best-looking and best-playing game we have ever had in a Mario Kart game. 8 Deluxe is the pinnacle of fun. It is the pinnacle of Mario Kart, and for them to have seen that game and decided, no, we can't just do more. We can't just do that, but again, but better. We need to expand our horizons, and that is exactly what they did here. The first big change I have to talk about, obviously, is the open world. It's called Mario Kart World because you can drive everywhere. You can go anywhere you want to go in free roam mode, and that is really cool, and there's going to be a lot of single player things in that, I believe, as well as just co-op, online co-op that you can do with your friends. It's going to be a massive map that you can traverse with your friends or just by yourself, probably find a bunch of new characters, do a bunch of cool missions. The P-Switch missions look really interesting. What I am a little bit worried about with these missions is what in the world are they going to do to incentivize us to do these things? Because if it's just simply, oh, I get more coins, then I don't know if I care. Like, obviously it's something to do and it's cool that I collected all of it, but is there an end goal here? Are there actual missions in, like, is it structured or is it just stuff to do? If it's just stuff to do, that feels a little anticlimactic, but I guess we'll have to see for that, right? Because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did not have hardly anything in the way of single player outside of your basic, you can play against bots or online, or, it's pretty much just all multiplayer, and that is what Mario Kart is really focused on. But this game seems to appeal to that single player crowd even more for people who like to explore, for people who like to go anywhere they want to go. You can just trick off to the side of the road and boom, you are just traversing this world and bouncing on top of water. It is so much fun to see how they are deciding to market this game, because Mario Kart World is a huge title. It implies so much more than just a Mario Kart 9, and it makes sense as to why in the Creator Insider interview they said this game is called Mario Kart World because it's different, because it's not just the next iteration, it's the next evolution. Moving forward, I don't know how they are going to handle the future of Mario Kart. Will they always have open worlds like this, or will they just dial it back and go back to a more cohesive, normal type of Mario Kart game? I don't know. It's really hard to tell right now. We're going to have to see how this game is received, all of the content in it, and then we'll find out sooner or later what the developers want to do moving forward, because this open world idea is very fun. But of course, that is not the main draw of this game. Of course, it is a huge draw for a lot of people, but the main draw for hardcore Mario Kart fans and casual Mario Kart fans alike is going to have to be the standard racing modes, the Grand Prix, the online racing, every single thing Mario Kart is about is in this game as well, and there are over 100 tracks if you count the in-between little sections in which you're driving from course to course, and of course you have to count that because those are all unique in their own ways, and that is insane. Over 100 tracks are in this game, as well as over 200 remixes, I believe, for music from all across the Mario series, and these tracks are phenomenal. This game is going to be so amazing for the ears, and every single Mario game seems to have amazing soundtracks, but this game in particular is going to have such a nostalgia boost for all of the Mario fans who have played a bunch of games in the past and introduce a whole bunch of new people to the series and its music. This game feels unique and feels exciting, not just because it's a brand new game or whatever, but because it feels like somewhat of a love letter to the Mario series as a whole. Mario Odyssey was kind of complimented for that back in the day, but this feels a little bit more like a love letter in my opinion, because they are obviously bringing back a lot of old courses. The retro courses are going to be back here, and they're going to have music from those tracks as well that are revamped. But when you're in the open world area, it just seems as though all of these different tracks from across the series, 3D Mario, 2D Mario, all these different spin-off Mario games with amazing soundtracks, it's going to be in this game as well, and I love it. I love that they are taking this and making it kind of like the Mario culmination. They are making this the ultimate Mario game. Even though it's a Mario Kart game, it's about the Mario series, and I just love to see how much care and attention has been given to every single detail in this game, and once we get our hands on it, I think that $80 price point is going to make so much more sense to everyone who plays it. Moving forward, I want to talk a little bit about the characters and how these stats are going to work for these individual characters. Obviously, a lot has changed from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's going to play completely differently than that game, and there are many new items and features that we have to discuss. But first, let's talk about the characters, because I don't know if each character is going to have its own individual stat, or if they all are going to have the same amount of stats, and the only thing that really changes is the kart stats. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, because in 8 Deluxe, obviously, we had the Waluigi Wiggler combo for so long. Then they had the Booster Course Pass and ended up being the Teddy Buggy and Yoshi, or Birdo, or Peach, Peachette, Daisy. Those were all of the same type of character builds. And I really don't like seeing. I get online, right, because I play competitively a lot. I'm at 18,000 VR in the game, and I just don't like seeing Yoshis every single time I play. Every lobby is full of Yoshis, and I wish there was more character variety and more character expression in the competitive scene, because it doesn't make sense to pick Bowser and some big combo cart, because obviously it's not going to keep up with all of the rest of them, and that is so unfortunate, because I would love to play as Bowser. Bowser is so cool, but I just can't unless I want to keep up with everybody else. So one thing I really love about Mario Kart World moving forward is the costumes, and that is a huge feature, because let's say it's Yoshi again, or let's say this time around it's like the Cataquack, or the cow, Moo Moo. I'll call him Moo Moo. Let's say the cow. Let's say he is the next big character, he's the next meta, he has the best stats, and everyone plays as him online. I don't know if he has any costumes, because I don't know if that's been confirmed, but for every other character, it seems as though there's at least one costume, so I'm going to assume every character has at least one, and if that's the case, then at least there's some costume variety, there's some visual variety. If everyone's driving as a cow, okay, I wish that wasn't the case, but okay. That means if you have different costumes on, it's going to look at least a little bit visually different. Because with Yoshi, the silver lining in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and with Birdo, because most people either play as Yoshi or Birdo, those characters have their different costume alternates. And so in the competitive scene, if you are playing with teammates, you can use those same colors to know, like on the mini map or on the actual map itself, oh, that's my teammate right there. And you can just have some visual identity there. So I really appreciate that with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and that obviously wasn't the case with Waluigi for the longest time, because he didn't have any variety. It was just Waluigi. But now in this game, if Waluigi is the meta again, we know he has at least 3 to 4 different costumes that people can choose from, and it's going to look a lot different. I love the costume ideas, but I don't love the way that we seemingly have decided to put them on the actual character selection screen and not just as a sub menu. If you pick Mario, you should just be able to see every single costume that he has available, or every one that you've unlocked, and just pick it right there. I hate how you have to scroll through all of these menus to find the version of Mario that you want. That's ridiculous. And it seems as though there is an option to sort. I've seen that in a couple different times, but we don't have confirmation on this. So I really hope that they decided to at least give us some options and have that not be the default option, because in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, obviously they had the auto acceleration and then the smart steering, and those were automatically turned on every time. You would have to go and turn it off with your new friends if you wanted to do that. And like if they didn't want it, it would just already be on, and I hate how that was the default option. I don't like that. Please make it to where it's standard, and then you can change it to that if you really want to. But also, if we're talking about characters here, let's talk about how freaking many characters there are and how much more focused this game is. Because I talked a little bit earlier about how this is a love letter to the Mario series as a whole, and this is just even more confirmation of them honing in and focusing on Mario and his series, his identity here. Mario has a ton of characters to pull from, and they decided to go all out in terms of how many characters this series will have. There is a Stingbee, a Rocky Wrench, a Conkedore, a Parabitty-Buggy, a Fishbone, Pianta, Cataquack, Cheep Cheep, Drybones, Wiggler, Sidestepper, Coin Coffer, Spike is here, the Cow is here, a Piranha Plant. All of these different enemies that you can now play as, and that is so much fun. And I know a lot of people really wanted this to be a Nintendo Kart, and that moving forward they would put in a bunch of different characters from a bunch of different series, but I feel like 8 Deluxe already kind of did that, right? We had Link, we had Splatoon Inklings, and then we also had Animal Crossing characters, and then we had Mii costumes in which you could do all of these different dress-ups with these different series and IPs. So I don't think moving forward we need to have that necessarily, especially considering Smash Brothers is already the big crossover. Let's not confuse the customer here. Let's not make it to where it's not novel anymore to have Smash have all these different characters in it, because that would truly ruin the surprise for Smash and make it just not as fun. And so Mario Kart, I think it's really, really good that they focused on the Mario side of things. It could have been cool. I'm not going to deny if you just like go to one side of the map and that's like the Zelda side and another side's the Kirby side. You can go and do a mission to unlock Kirby as a drivable character. That would be a lot of fun. But I just am glad that they decided, let's hone in on Mario. This is Mario Kart. This isn't Nintendo Kart. Now let's talk a little bit about the kart selections. There are a lot of different karts here that you no longer get to select the individual parts. I don't know how I feel about that, because I did like the options to just switch and choose, and a lot of them did look ridiculous, but that was part of the fun to me. I remember for a long time a challenge I would do is just go and pick a random character and then randomly select different karts and parts for that kart, because that was so much fun to challenge myself and be like, wow, this kart combination sucks. Let's try to get first place anyways. And a lot of these karts that they've put together, I'm looking at here on this wiki page, they're not cool, in my opinion. They brought the Bitty Buggy back because obviously they did. It looks amazing. Then they brought Cloud9 back and Bumble 5 from Mario Kart 7. Some of these karts are fine, but they all look just a little bit too generic in my opinion. I think Mario Kart 8's kart selections look a lot better, and I guess we're gonna have to see, because there's karts and then there's bikes, and bikes weren't even worth trying in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because they just were so much worse statistically speaking. And now there's like a new type of vehicle called ATVs, so I guess we'll just have to see what this looks like going forward. I'm not gonna judge it right now, but I am going to say I'm a little bit disappointed in how they've handled this. Moving on, of course, we've got the track selections. These tracks look amazing. Like, even just the icons are enough to get me so excited. The Mario Bros. Circuit, obviously, we've seen to death. Crown City, there's apparently like a bunch of different types of Crown City tracks depending on where you're coming from. If you're coming from a certain side of the map, then you get a completely different version of Crown City. So it's like a hub world in a sense, like you're going back to this one issue, this one area, but it's always going to be different every time you play it depending on where you're coming from. I think that's so cool. DK Spaceport particularly is so much fun. Look at that Donkey Kong design. It's just so cool. The Wario Shipyard looks totally different, so completely different from what it used to be, and I cannot wait to see how they revamp it. And that's another thing, right? A lot of these tracks, some of the retro ones, are hardly recognizable because of how much they have been revamped for 24 racers and for this open world. I just can't wait to dive into the new courses as well, because Boo's Cinema, what the heck? That looks amazing. The Dino Jungle I know is a retro course, but it looks so much different from what we've seen before. Crown City, again, with this different bridge here. I can't wait. I just can't wait to get my hands on this game. And of course, we know that Rainbow Road was teased in the Mario Kart Direct. You got to unlock all of the different Grand Prix, finish those, and then you get yourself some Rainbow Road. So I truly am so excited. And obviously, I think we know Toad Factory is probably coming back. I can't wait for that. There are so many tracks here. After begging and begging, and we never got it in 8 Deluxe, we're going to finally get Airship Fortress back. I can't wait to play that in Mario Kart World. I'm just so excited to not only dive into these different courses, but look how visually amazing this game is, and figure out how this game plays, because every Mario Kart game controls a little bit differently. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was pretty perfect, so I'm going to be very critical if this game does not play as good, but I obviously understand it's going to feel different, and different doesn't always mean bad, so I'm going to have to get used to it. For example, you can just kind of trick whenever you want now and jump up in the air and probably dodge a bunch of items as well, and I don't know how that's going to be, if it's going to be a little too cheap, if it's going to be hard. Like, what happens if I'm in third place and I throw a red shell and second place jumps over it and then first place jumps over it as well? I don't know. I feel like that could screw things over a lot, and maybe the red shell will just continue to hone in on whoever you've thrown it towards. I've not seen any clips of that, but I just hope that they decide not to make it to where you can just dodge literally anything without any protection items. And speaking of items, let's talk about some of the returning items and some of the new items. The coin item is back, and there are a bunch of different coin items that you can now use, and coins were so important in 8 Deluxe. The difference between having 2 coins and 6 coins was immense. Like, if you only had 2 coins and someone else has 6, or if you have 10 coins and someone else has 5, you're going to be driving a lot faster than that other vehicle. And so now I think it goes up to 20 coins instead of 10. That is crazy. That is insane, because 24 racers, right? More opportunities to get coins. So that means if you get hit, you're probably going to lose a lot, and if you get more, you're going to speed up a lot. But the difference between 25 coins to 0 coins, holy crap, I hope it's a little bit more balanced than in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because if someone has 25 and another person has 0, that could be like a 2x speed difference. That would be insane. But they have the coin item, the coin box item, and then a new item, which is the coin shell. You throw it, and in front of you and wherever it goes comes a bunch of coins, and it doesn't act like a green shell from what I can tell, but I don't know if it necessarily acts like a red shell either. Wherever you throw it, it just kind of goes in its own line, and it veers around the track, and then you can go behind it and get some coins. And if coins are as important as they were in 8 Deluxe, this is going to be a crucial item in terms of when you use it, because if you're in the middle of the pack and you throw it and people see that you have it and are about to throw it, they're probably going to try to rush right in front of you to grab all of your coins, and then you've pretty much wasted your own item. So there is a lot of strategy to that. And I just hope that coins aren't as important, but are also important. You know what I mean? There's a difference. There has to be a balance there, and I hope that they found a good balance. Another really cool new item is the Kamek item. It basically makes it to where you throw it in front of you, and all of a sudden a bunch of different enemies, charging trucks or bullet bills or whatever, will come after you, and it can affect the environment as well. From what I've seen, it's just very unique and a very Mario Kart World item. This game is so focused on being big and new, and Kamek item really does affect the environment around you, which is what items should probably evolve into moving forward. And with these tracks being so much bigger, a lot of these items are also different. For example, the boomerang item can be thrown up to 4 times now rather than just 3. I hate the boomerang item in 8 Deluxe, so this is very disheartening to me, but whatever. The ice flower is kind of new because it wasn't in 8 Deluxe. It allows the player to throw up to 8 ice balls for a short period of time that causes other cards to lose control on impact, and they probably freeze up. Same thing for the fire flower, which is back from 8 Deluxe. We have the feather, which is back from the battle mode in 8 Deluxe and is now in actual races. It can cause the player to spin, leap up in the air, allow them to reach different areas, avoid attacks, drive on walls. Then we have the Mega Mushroom back from Mario Kart Wii, increases the player's size. You can flatten anybody in your path, and also now, a very huge change is that when the shock happens, the Mega Mushroom no longer shrinks. You stay big, and it's basically a shock dodge item, which is so cool. And lastly, the hammer item is back from what I believe is Mario Kart Tour. I know it was on the Tour game. I don't know if it was any of the other mainline ones, but they throw a bunch of different hammers with bursts. Like 3 or 4 of them will come out at one time, and then there'll be a little pause, and 3, 4 more. And it's a very useful item, and I don't know if it actually tracks players, but I know basically wherever you are pointed is where it will spin towards. So it's a very good item. I'm glad to see it in a mainline Mario game. And then we've got the Boo item, which is back again, stealing items from randomly selected racers in front of you, and then giving you invincibility so you can like drive through things and also dodge the shock, etc. So I'm really glad to see a lot of these items are coming back and to see what these new ones are and what they do a little bit. So then the last brand new item here is the dash food, which is basically you pick up a burger or a sushi or different kinds of food items through these bag items, and then you get a variety of different foods, which then gives you a speed boost once you use it, similar to a mushroom, but then also will change your outfit, which I am so confused about. Is that how we unlock character costumes? Like, is every time we get a different food and consume it, does that change the costume you already have? What happens if you already have all the costumes? Does it make it to where you don't change and it's only a boost item. I don't know what this means for the future, what it means for the costumes in general, because obviously if I went into a race with a specific costume and I've unlocked all the costumes, I don't want a new one. I don't need a new one. I just simply want to play as the costume I selected, right? So why in the world would this item be a thing if that's how it worked? I don't think that's how it'll work, but it's just still kind of weird. I don't know. We'll have to see how that works because there's so many different things in which I think they're going to have to address with this. The last thing I want to talk about before I talk about my overall thoughts on this game before it comes out is the Knockout Tour. Man, the Knockout Tour is going to be so much fun. You're 24 racers, right? And then you get to different segments of the map, and once you get to a certain part, if you aren't at a certain place or higher, you are eliminated. So if it's 24 racers, then I think you get to a certain segment, and if you're not in the top 20, you're out. Then if you're not in the top 16, you're out. If you're not in the top 14, you're out. Top 10. And then it goes like that. And that is such a fun and competitive way to spice up the gameplay a little bit, because with the regular mode, obviously everyone has a lot of fun and everyone enjoys playing regular Mario Kart, but having different modes to change the stakes a little bit, especially online, makes it so much fun because there's so much different strategy to that. With the regular Mario Kart mode and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe online, I would play and just try to get the best spot I possibly could, not necessarily fighting for first or second. If I'm in third, I'm happy with third because I'm going to get a bunch of VR points from that. And if I'm in 6th or 8th place or something like that, obviously I want to get a higher position. I want to do better than that, but I'm not going to be super upset if I had a horrible race and I end up in 6th or 8th. Because you know what? It could be worse. It could be so much worse and I could lose a lot more points. But in knockout mode, I am actively incentivized to not do the best I can just to get some points, but to get in a higher spot. And I can imagine so many people really front running, getting in first place, getting in second place, getting blue shelled, getting itemed the heck out, and then they just hit everything, and then all of a sudden they've lost. And so maybe there's a different level of strategy here to where you're supposed to kind of stay in the middle of the pack the entire time. So if you're in 12th place when it's the 24, and if you just stay in the middle, you should be fine as long as you don't get hit. Or maybe this game is one of those things where if you're in the middle of the pack, you're going to get hit and it's going to be bad because there are a lot of items and a lot of racers. So it just adds so much variety to the experience, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this mode. So many people have been glowing about it and saying it's one of the best things Mario Kart has ever done, so I can't wait to get my hands on this game overall. But yeah, that leads into a good conclusion here because Mario Kart World looks amazing. It looks like it's going to feel amazing, and all of these different modes excite the heck out of me because I know so much love, attention, and care has been put into this game. They truly have been working so hard on making this the next evolution of the Mario Kart series. This game is going to be phenomenal, and I truly hope that obviously no one likes to pay $80. No one wants to talk about it being $80 either, but I truly hope that that doesn't get in the way for people and that they can just experience this game and have a good time and not look at it with those blinders on, because obviously when I review this game, that $80 price point will be taken into account for the most part because that's my job, right? I'm going to review it and tell you if I think it is worth the price point. And a lot of people are going to disagree with my conclusion on that, and I'm probably already confident I'm going to say it is worth it for my type of audience. But maybe for the individual person, that's not what they think. That's not what they should think, at least. I think you should buy a game and enjoy it. And if you enjoyed it, then it was worth it to you because you got exactly what you wanted out of that experience. So if I review Donkey Kong Country Returns HD like I did and say it's a great game, but it's not worth the price and I wouldn't recommend you go out of your way to buy it if you've never played it before and if you don't already have something like Tropical Freeze, because that is obviously your choice to make, and it's not my decision to say, oh, it's definitely this way for everyone. Everyone's going to be different, and that is perfectly fine. But it's important for us to not only remember that, but to apply it to our lives when we talk about this game with other people or listen to their experiences. Because I guarantee you, if I get this game and I love it and I review it and I am glowing in it and I address the price point by simply saying it's expensive, we don't like that, but it's good and it was worth it for me, then a lot of people are going to be so mad at me for saying that, and I can't fathom how. I mean, I guess if you just want to defend yourself that much, okay, but it's just disappointing, I think, in a lot of ways. So it's really important to me that you just let people enjoy what they're doing. If to them it's not that big of a deal, and I don't know, you don't have to go out of your way to say something is wrong if you if you subjectively think it's wrong, because it's just that. It's subjective. So Mario Kart World, it looks amazing. These costumes are fun. The tracks are fun. The open world mode, the drive mode, the free range mode. I've talked about all of this at length, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this game and review it for the channel and just keep talking about this stuff because the Nintendo Switch 2 is so close. We can almost taste it. Oh my goodness. We have been waiting for so long, so many years, and I will probably do a very similar Calm Before the Storm video on, what, June 4th? Man, I cannot wait to talk about my experiences with the Switch and just moving forward what I think is going to happen. So thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. Are you excited about Mario Kart World? Do you think this game is going to be good? Do you think it's going to be bad? Is the price still deterring you from this game, from these products? Or do you just not care anymore? Did you get over it and you just know you're going to play it anyways? So please let me know all of that and more down below in the comments section. Make sure you like and subscribe today's video if you enjoyed. It really helps out the channel, and I just appreciate it because it shows that I'm doing something right? So make sure you click that notification bell to know exactly when my videos release, and consider joining my membership program, a couple bucks a month, just to help support my channel at large and to help me as a content creator. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Click on the left side of your screen to see my rankings of every single Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track. What a project that was, and click on the right side of your screen to see all of my videos about the Nintendo Switch 2. Thank you once more for making it to the end. You are amazing. I appreciate you and your time so much. Make sure you have yourself a phenomenal day. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and I will see you all in the next video.